all right? You'd have to be either living under a rock or smoking a rock not to have noticed all the Russian coverage that's been going on. This has been going on for months, and it showed no signs of slowing down until brave people like Senator Nina Turner called it out, and then many others started following suit. 3 journalists from CNN's investigative unit are leaving the network after retractions of their June 22nd story connected an ally of President Trump to a Russian investment fund. They had to pull it back. They had to yank it off the internet. Now, this story did not air on CNN's, cable news channel, if you want to call it news channel. But it was on the internet for all to see, and other people wrote articles based on it. You know how they do. One article begets another article. The story cited an anonymous source, said Senate investigators were examining a meeting between Wall Street financier Anthony Scaramucci and an executive for the Russian Direct Investment Fund. The $10 billion fund makes direct investments in Russian companies. Scaramucci, who founded hedge fund specialist Skybridge Capital, served on Trump's transition team. So they wanted to paint Trump as this connection to Scaramucci because they are connected, and now show that, well, Scaramucci is a scumbag. He's dealing with Russia. Maybe money given to Scaramucci is money, or any money that Scaramucci invests in this Russian investment fund is actually coming from Trump, or somehow payback for helping Trump get elected. I mean, you get the innuendos, right? I know what they say they did it for, but come on. The retracted story appeared on the website. It did not air on television, as I stated. CNN removed the story from all connecting links on Friday. They're saying the story did not meet its editorial standards, and to that, I gotta ask, since when did you have standards? I mean, I'd really like to know, when did CNN have standards? CNN, the Clinton News Network, has been running the same Russian narrative without much more than this ever since the election. They've been running story after story after story without naming sources, without having actual evidence, no smoking guns, no bombshell stories. And I know a lot of people out there are upset. They are, because you're just waiting for them to find something. Do you realize while they're looking to find more on Trump or something substantial on Trump, meanwhile, their viewership is up through the roof? How can you not see the money-making potential in this story, the reality of money-making in this story, and not tie that to the coverage? Thomas Frank, who wrote the piece, Eric Lichtblau, an editor in the investigative unit, and Lex Harris, an editor at CNN since 2001, who oversaw the unit, are all departing following a management review of the story. Now, I want to make this clear. This is not the Thomas Frank who wrote Whatever Happened in Kansas or Listen Liberal. Not that Thomas Frank. That Thomas Frank is cool. This is another Thomas Frank. This Thomas Frank was reporting on Iraq. He was reporting on, I mean, he's like a Pulitzer Prize, like right up there for it. Like, this guy had great credentials. And still, he falls for the banana in the tailpipe. I believe that these two veterans of news are the scapegoats for a predatory BS newsroom from the top to the bottom, being directed to fabricate stories, grab stories, get what you can to keep the Russian narrative going. And this time they got caught and they couldn't wiggle out of it. That's what I believe is true. Some of you may know that I went on a show with Sam Cedar, or who I affectionately have renamed Sham Cedar. And in that show, I said, Sam, won't you hit some of these mainstream media people who keep spreading this Russia narrative? I mean, since you agreed that there will be no impeachment and this is all smoke blowing. And he said, well, it fits my agenda. Do you just believe we got a bunch of rogue reporters, senior reporters who've been in the business 20, 30 years? Or do you believe that the organization, which is CNN, is now so focused on profits, so focused on making money, so focused on this Russia narrative that they've lost all forms of realistic, like ability to weigh, ability to be fair, ethical in their reporting? As you probably imagine, Trump is not taking this lying down. He took to Twitter and he said this. So they caught fake news, CNN code. What about NBC, CBS, and ABC? What about the failing New York Times and Washington Post? They are all fake news. Yeah, what about them? What about all of these news entities that report basically the same stories, that basically continue this Russia narrative without any hardcore evidence? What about that? Well, he was doing well with that tweet, but he also tweeted this. He said, CNN is looking at big management changes now that they've got caught falsely pushing their phony Russia stories. Ratings are way down. Well, no, Trump, that's not true. There are no big managerial changes expected to happen. They let the flunkies or the people lower on the totem pole fall on the blade, and their ratings are actually up. In fact, CNN ratings are pacing ahead of last year. Last month, the network had an average audience of 822,000 viewers, which is up 40% since May 2016. So the takeaway is simple. Mainstream media, corporate media is fixated on money, on making profits from news, not giving you the truth, not telling you what is going on in the news, focusing on the Russia narrative for one point only. It's highly lucrative. It's the news business for them. Business comes first. And the only news is that it's big business and that they are doing business. They're conducting business instead of giving you truth, reliable reporting, and the facts. I'm Tim Black for TBTV. Shame on you, CNN, but at this point, I don't think you have any left.